Ah, July! That magical time of year where your wallet is as sunburned as your back. Everything is happening, and despite the fact that you're busy as hell, game publishers still release a metric ton of titles you absolutely do not have time for. Whether you're into sword swinging, gun blasting, or cozy survival, this month has got something for you. Hi folks, it's Falcon. And today on Game Ranks, we're counting down the top 10 new games dropping in July 2025. Starting off with it's 10. Tripwire Interactive's Killing Floor 3. Finally crawling out of development hell and onto your screens. Man, after a beta that people considered so rough, it made Cyberpunk 2077's launch look polished. The devs took a 4-month detour to fix what fans politely called everything. However, I have faith Killing Floor has always been a series this new one set 70 years after the last game. You're part of Nightfall, a rebel group that's fighting off the Horizon Corporation's latest batch of bioengineered nightmares. Azeds as you may know them, and you and 5 other people are gonna take on smarter enemies and enough gore to make a butcher blush. Basically, it's Left 4 Dead meets Doom meets Cyberpunk 2077 meets zombies. And yeah, rough beta, but they delayed till July, specifically July 24th on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series. I think it's gonna be good. Personally, I'm really pulling for Killing Floor 3. Moving on to 9, it's Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. Developed by the Game Kitchen and published by Dotemu and Koei Tecmo. This side-scrolling action platformer picks up immediately after the original Ninja Gaiden event Siren, Kenji Mozu, and optionally Komori with lightning-fast combat. You have precision dodges, wall grabs, deadly dash combos. It's very much like a modernization of the original Ninja Gaiden. Like the stylish retro side-scrolling action game. I don't want to say it's exactly Ninja Gaiden with a modern polish. It looks like it's developed somewhat, which I think is good. I'm glad they aren't just giving us like a really old game. And new clothes, I guess. Beautiful pixel art though. Absolutely beautiful pixel art. One of those games I'm super excited to play this one. Rage 2 is coming to PC, the PlayStation, the Xboxes, the Switches, and it's coming July 31st. Moving on to 8, it's Shadow Labyrinth, a gritty sci-fi reimagining of Pac-Man. I'm feigning ignorance here. I obviously have known about this for a while. And it's not exactly that. It's a Metroidvania where you play as swordsman 8, and you're guided by a floating yellow orb named Puck, navigating a maze like Alien World. And that's how it's very loosely Pac-Man. This is one of those games where I don't think I'm really gonna know exactly what to make of it until I play it. Because yeah, it's a Metroidvania. Yeah, it's a 2D action platform. Yeah. And there is also Pac-Man stuff in it. Like Pac-Man Championship Edition inspired stuff in it. I don't really know what to make of it. It looks cool. It looks like something I'm interested in playing. But will it be good? I've got a feeling it's just wily enough to be pretty good. But also again, it's one of those things where I feel like I really gotta play it too. To know a lot of time you can get a read on it. I can't, it's interesting. And that's about as far as I can really get with it. Shadow Labyrinth is coming July 18th to PS5, Xbox Series, Nintendo Switch 1 and 2, as well as PC, and 7 is Grounded. Obsidian made this sequel to the Shrink and Survive game they made called Grounded, and it's about to launch in game preview and early access. And you could probably go and say a bunch of very obvious improvements. The bigger backyard, meaning more area to explore, apparently triple the area over time. Not immediately, but more importantly, you're going to be able to ride bugs like you can tame ants, spiders, etc., and you can ride them into battle. Interestingly enough, Obsidian says this was only possible by dropping Xbox One I'm not support. Completely sure. I think that's true. Riding stuff isn't, new tech, but whatever, it doesn't matter. It's something that should have been in the original. And it's here now, and that's what matters. Like I said, Grounded 2 is launching in game preview and early access exclusively for PC and Xbox Series on July 29th. And 6 is Tales of the Shire. Hey, you know that peaceful interlude between The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. That serene time where people were kind of just hanging around, Having hairy feet living in hills and all that. Well, what if that was a life sim? I don't know, it's a weird question to ask actually. I would like a life sim where I could be a hobbit in the Shire during the very short period of time where the world wasn't at war. Really hyper-specific want there. Basically what you're gonna do is be a hobbit be alive. Perfect your mushroom stew garden. Fish forage like on some level. I think this sounds like a really fun cozy sim game. And on another level, I'm kind of like just massively confused how this got made. I'm glad to some extent, I mean. If it's good and if it's not good. I'm not very glad about that at all, but it's different. It's interesting and I don't understand how somebody green-lit it and put money towards it. This is the kind of game that your mom would like. After complaining for decades about how you like all these violent video games, be like, yeah, I'm playing a hobbit game. You go fishing and garden and it honestly could be very good. I mean, it's not like Stardew Valley isn't good. It is good. I don't know if it's gonna be Hobbit Stardew Valley, but like as a point of reference, I think definitely workable. Tales of the Shire is coming to the PlayStation, Xbox's PC, and Nintendo Switch July 29th. And no, 5 is Wuchang Falling Feathers. If Sakala and Bloodborne were kind of combined and set in ancient China, I think that's basically what this would look like. It's a Souls-like action RPG from Lindsay and 505 Games, and it throws you into the late Dynasty era stuff. You play as an amnesiac pirate, slowly turning into a monstrous bird person. That sounds very silly, but honestly, the game doesn't look silly at all. Looks like a pretty damn good Souls-like to me. The one that's maybe leaning a little bit further into narrative than your typical Souls-like. And I also think that's an interesting idea. I don't know if it's actually gonna deliver on that. But it does feel like there's more going on. You're battling your inner demon stuff. And there's actually even systems tied to it. Every time you die or kill human enemies, there's a glowing red mark that appears on your neck. It makes you more powerful, but it also makes you more vulnerable. If you die with that mark active, your inner demon spawns as a boss fight, and it wields your weapons and abilities. It's an interesting idea. I think it ties the narrative to the systems, and I think that's cool, but again, it's one of those ones where like you actually have to play it. It's a pretty serious looking game. Looks fairly high budget, but it's a $49 game that is launching on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC July 23rd. And no, for its Eric's Home, The Stolen Dream. This one's a top-down stealth adventure that is part Commandos, part prestige TV drama you play as a teen orphan who is searching for her missing brother. As it turns out, that gets you tangled up in a deep conspiracy that threatens the entire city of Eric's Home. Insert Peter Griffin talking about them saying the title. So you have 3 protagonists. You have Hannah, the aforementioned orphan, and then Alva and Sebastian, and they all have unique skills. You'll be switching between these players to do different things. So you have stealth puzzle solving, and you have some pretty detailed, interesting environments to be doing these things in. This is an impressive looking game for having a 16-person team. Like, this is a very cinematic looking game. A lot of people who have had experience with it say it's feels like you're playing a movie, which is potentially a pretty good compliment. I'm interested in it. It's gonna be dropping on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series July 15th. And number 3 is RoboCop Rogue City Unfinished Business, a standalone expansion from Tan and Nakanum. It doesn't require the original game, so you might call it a sequel, but I'm not 100% sure on that. They're calling it a standalone expansion, so I'm not gonna dispute it. I don't know enough about stars to dispute it anyway. This one's set in the Omni Tower, the massive housing complex turned war zone. You got new weapons like a cryo cannon, which freezes enemies solid. You can play as Alex Murphy in some flashback missions. There's some fresh stuff that they're tossing in here. Probably one of the bigger highlight is Highlights is going to be piloting the Ed 209 that. You know, the robot. Not the RoboCop, the robot. I don't know, RoboCop Rogue City was a great game. More RoboCop Rogue City with more stuff to do, more possibilities. There's no questions. Unfinished Business is landing on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC July 17th. And number 2 is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. In all seriousness, 1 and 2 was great. It is really hard for me to imagine not really wanting 3 despite the fact they are doing a major change to the career mode. There has been a little bit of controversy about that specifically. I'm pretty okay with it, honestly. I'm just ready to play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and for stuff. You got all the original parks from 3 and 4. You get enhanced Create a Skater, Create a Park New Game Plus. And I think they're kind of doing their best with this here. With the soundtrack because of licensing but you got some of the iconic tracks in the original and some new additions. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 is coming to PlayStation, Xboxes, the Nintendo Switches, and PC July 11th. And finally, at no 1 it's Donkey Kong Bonanza. So let me just say this, I'm so hyped for Donkey Kong Bonanza. You have no idea the amount of hype. Basically, what if you do Mario Odyssey? But instead, it's Donkey Kong Country with destructible environments. And that's same. Sometimes it's to D and you play it in Donkey Kong Country style. Side-scrolling platforming thing that Sonic Unleashed pioneered. Mario Odyssey picked up on. I mean, that's not the only 3D Sonic thing they've picked up on. We've got open zone level design. Open zone level design, my folks. In all seriousness, I cannot express to you the amount of hype. This is easily one of my most anticipated games this year, and I've only known about it for a short period of time. If it delivers, this is for me Game of the Year material. Everything about this game is something that I have wanted in some way, shape or form for a long time, and to throw it in within the first couple of months of Nintendo Switch 2. Yeah, the pricing sucks on this thing, but they know what they're doing. I'm going to buy and play this game. When it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2 on July 17th, I have a couple of bonus games for you as well. The first is Michael Punk, a new co-op FPS from Pigeons That Play and Developer Digital. This one gives you a very unique looking place to explore. Customizable weapons looks kind of like a Risk of Rain to Plus Fungus situation. Michael Punk is of course launching on Steam Early Access July 10th, and a mech showdown called Mecha Break. A free-to-play PvP and PvPvE mech shooter with several modes. You have your 3v3 arena, your 6v6 hero battles, and extraction. You're gonna have a bunch of mech customizations. It is a live service game free to play, of course, which means there are hazards, but the developers promise that the monetization is going to be limited to cosmetics. So hopefully no pay to win, but we'll see. Kind of a Titanfall-ish Team Fortress-ish thing looks like at EA Sports. College Football 26. It was 11 years before they put out College Football 25. It's really a series that a lot of people missed, and I think it went over pretty well, because they're obviously putting another one out. I am not 100% sure if they're just updating rosters and stuff. Like your typical game where they're trying a lot of new things. There are a few modes that I don't think were in the previous. Road to Glory mode, which includes high school football. There's a dynasty mode, but otherwise, I'm just kind of expecting a yearly iterative experience, which is good because College Football 25 was good. College Football 26 is landing July 10th on PS5. Xbox Series at Total Chaos, because Partial Chaos is just not enough. Hey, just when you thought it was safe to go back into abandoned mining colonies, because that always goes so well. You know Trigger Happy Interactive, the guys behind Turbo Overkill and legendary publishers, Apogee Entertainment, have brought us a survival horror game set in the decaying ruins of Fort Oasis, which by the way makes Silent Hill look like a freaking vacation spot. You wash ashore you're a Coast Guardsman, and you find that reality in Fort Oasis is a little more flexible than you might expect. You're guided by a helpful voice on a walkie-talkie. That's certainly not suspicious in any way. I wouldn't regard it as a threat Just do what it says, right? Would you kindly and all that In this game, you salvage scraps, you craft melee weapons. I mean, this game feels kind of like somewhere between BioShock, Silent Hill, and Vermintide. How do I know? Well, I have played it, you can too. Is a demo of this one available? I would highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun if the whole game is as fun as the demo. I think it's gonna be a fun game. Total Chaos is coming July 24th to PC.